Hey everyone, Tin Man here, back with my first game in the new ELO update in Lord of Whitespire ranking system. So now it will be based solely on ELO rather than on just a strict plus or minus points. First off, gonna pick up I'll pick up Razor. There was actually a number of other balance related changes in the patch, but it wasn't big enough to really make its own video. So I'll be putting in my commentary on a lot of those changes here throughout the game. And one of the heroes that was changed was Razor, and I'm not entirely sure what the change means. So they basically said they fixed some bugs where it was doing extra damage to units who were 1 cell away, his ability, and it was doing half damage to units 3 cells away. So I'm not entirely sure if that means, I think the range is only up to 3 cells away. Okay, so it actually is a buff. Right? This is actually a buff then, because before it was, I guess, not dealing enough damage to people at maximum range, although it was dealing a bit more damage. Perhaps it was dealing the same amount of damage both close and far away. I never really tested that in detail, but I guess they noticed that was a bug, and so Razor, I guess, is now working as intended. So that's good. A little more consistency. Not the best start. We didn't really have anything that pairs up well with it right off the bat, but picking up Axe early, getting him a couple of kills is always nice as well. A number of other units were also changed, and when they come up, we will discuss them. But the big change here is the ELO update. So now I'm actually looking, there's a couple relatively low ranked people. There's only one other Lord in the lobby. And so if I was understanding the patch notes correctly, essentially the only ranks that are going to matter, or the only players that I care about in this lobby, are going to be the big boss or Lord players, in terms of how much my ranking is going to move up or down if I win or lose. So this person who I guess queued up with a friend to get into this high level lobby, it doesn't matter how I place in relation to them. My rating will just depend on how I place against everybody else. So that's fine. I was intending to move my guys around like this, so that Tiny was up front and center, and he would get killed off first, so that Axes could collect all the kills, but that didn't quite work out in time. And we'll pick up Chainmail. Despite having an Embarrassment of Riches, we're not able to get any tier 2 items. So I'm pretty happy here to pick up Slarter, and that'll give us the warrior buff here to start things off. And I'll kind of organize like this, so that Slarter's kind of off to the side and he can kind of wrap around and deal his high DPS, because he deals massive DPS with this compared to the other two. And we'll also pick up Timbersaw, who goes really well into some Scrappy builds, which did get buffed this patch ever so slightly by adding a new Scrappy to the mix. Now Sniper is a Scrappy. Previously Sniper was just a Deadeye Hunter. Now he's still a Deadeye Hunter, but he's also a Scrappy. And that could have a lot of implications for how viable a lot of these various Scrappy builds are in the mid game, and I don't really think it leads you to a Scrappy Hunter build, because you're still going to want to have 4 Scrappies really as an ideal power point, and that doesn't really lend itself well to Hunters, but it's possible. Now there is some overlap there. Alright, what do we get here? We won that round, so we don't get any rerolls, but we get the bonus gold. We get a 2-star Enchantress. Also pretty good. I could level up here. Puck was also slightly changed. I'll get to that in a second while I decide. Do I want to just level up and put in a Timbersaw? I kind of do. I think that's a good play. So, Puck was also slightly adjusted in this patch, and the phase shift, the Puck's dragon ability, I can't pull it up here, but when you have the Dragon Alliance, Puck will phase shift every couple of seconds to avoid damage. And Puck will now no longer do that if hexed or stunned or forced attacking the target, so if they're taunted up by an axe. This is in change from before, where it was a passive and would always work. I guess it still goes through silencing, so you can still put Mask of Madness on Puck, but I don't see why you ever would. But if you're silenced by... I guess that's the only real silence effect, right? Other than axes and stuns and things like that. Okay, so we're getting a lot of Scrappy here, so yeah, I'm pretty excited to throw in some Scrappies here. Let's move off the Warrior Alliance for the moment. Do something like this. Tiny over Axe. I think we're going to move away from Brawnies as well. I don't know gold, okay. Probably should have kept that Slarder. But this works out well. You guys got double Bloodbound. Do they have a big time contract? No, they don't. Okay. Don't think we're going to win this one. They've got too many 2-star units. But this Scrappy buff is still really strong, plus the Enchantress buff. So Ogre Magi was also changed quite a bit, and this could be impactful towards the meta. So Ogre Magi, Bloodlust, the text is identical, but the change was that Ogre Magi now no longer requires mana. He's just going to cast that on a 5-second cooldown all the time. I didn't quite get to see at the start of that fight whether he cast it right off the bat. I would assume he did. He cast that as soon as combat started, but I didn't quite catch that. I believe that's how it was intended. So there's a Sniper, which is now a Scrappy, as mentioned. So I'm definitely going to pick that up. Pull out the Tiny here for it. And now we just find like a Bounty Hunter. Like, Bounty Hunter gives us the Scrappy buff. The 4 Scrappy. I also could have grabbed that Nature's Prophet, I guess. We could have played that instead of... Well... I guess a 2-star Nature's Prophet probably would have been better than the one of Sniper here, because getting to 3 Scrappy is actually a little bit bad, because you see in this case we get the Scrappy buff on the Sniper, and that's not very helpful because he's not taking very much damage. I'd much rather have it on a Timbersaw or Clockwork up front. So maybe I can reevaluate that here in a moment. Hopefully I can find a good unit to put it on instead, or to put it instead, like a Druid. Even though I did miss that Nature's Prophet, I didn't think about it at the time. So what other changes? So they made changes to Juggernaut. In fact, they named the patch the time we finally fixed Juggernaut, and I'll hold off judgment on whether Juggernaut's really fixed yet. But essentially the gist of it is that Juggernaut will continue to auto-attack his target whenever he is spinning in his ability. And actually, hold on, I'm thinking here for a second. I think I actually just want to... I can't sell off for interest. I kind of want to, though, but I don't want to give up the Primordials. Anyway, so Juggernaut now will... he will continue to attack his target while he's spinning, but then he will also purge stuns whenever he starts spinning. So that's good. I believe that's how it was intended to work since they last adjusted him, but did not actually happen that way. Okay, we do get the win, so we can pick up the Tiny here. And now we've got good options towards a couple different directions. 4 Scrappy into Mages or Primordials. See which way makes more sense. So there's the Timbersaw. And a Bounty Hunter. So gonna get the 4 Scrappy buff in here. And do I just move off of Primordials to grab interest? I think I do. Might keep Razor just temporarily, because you would be a mage to kind of fill out the mage slot here. But now that we got a 2-star Timbersaw, this should be really good. Oh, Sniper was also buffed again. The text didn't really change, but he now says whenever he would cast and like his target dies as he's casting, he no longer restarts the cast. He just simply changes his target and then kills the new target. So lots of big buffs to Sniper, which is what's kind of drawing me here towards this scrappy build. Unfortunately, cannot get the win there. Who else was changed? Sand King was changed, and Tidehunter were also changed. Those are 4-cost students, so we haven't seen them yet to really discuss them. But I don't think they're going to really come into this build regardless, so we'll discuss them here. Tidehunter, his armor was changed from 5 to 10, and his maximum health was increased quite substantially, 850 up to 1100 at level 1. And 1700 up to 2700 at level 2. His attack damage was also buffed a little bit, from 45 minimum to 60 minimum, so the average was increased by about 10. So he gained about 10 attack damage. That's pretty substantial, but the main problem with Tidehunter is that at 1 star he's just garbage. He stuns in a very small radius, like he's basically just like an axe alt, and that's not really enough. So I don't think that'll substantially change where Tidehunter's played in the meta. Let's take a look around. So there's one other person on Scrappy. We got some looking like Scrappy Assassins or something like that. I guess we can also grab some Assassins. I don't think really Abaddon or Drow Ranger is really where we want to go. Arcane Boots. That's a pretty good one for this kind of build. Unfortunately, we got rid of the Primordials. Otherwise, Summoning Stone would be great. But Arcane Boots is also great into this lineup that wants a lot of units to have mana for their abilities. There's a Sniper. Okay. Perfect. I do have a free reroll here, but I think I'm just going to sell off and get to 20 gold. Perfect. And then we'll buy the Timber Saw and then reroll during combat after interest locks in. Oh, and then we should move Gloves of Haste over to Sniper now that he deals quite a bit more damage. The other change was to Sand King, which I'm not actually sure was a real change. They said the Caustic Finale, his ability was, or his the passive other than Burrow Strike, that ability was reworked, and now it applies a poison that when it expires, it deals damage. But I was reading some bug post threads. People were like posting the bugs they observed. And I think it was actually bugged, and they basically just updated the tooltip and said, okay, it does what, it's going to do the same thing, but we're just gonna make the tooltip consistent with how it was working, even though that was working was a bug. So either they just couldn't get it right, or I don't know what was going on there. But they decided to rework it and make it work exactly how it's always been working, which was bugged. So now it's at least a little bit more clear what's going on. I don't really think we want Doom or any of the other options here. You know, maybe Ogre Magi? I don't know. We'll buy it after interest locks in, but it's the only thing I'm even vaguely considering now that he's a mage and would kind of want some mages, and I don't know. Maybe. This Lena's gonna kill us. Because unfortunately the Scrappy buff does not prevent Lena ults one-shotting you. Gives you a lot of healing. But not enough to prevent that. No, Timber Saw. Rip. That's alright, we get another free reroll. After we level up too. And we're still pretty healthy. We're still at 85 life, yeah. Our net worth is quite a bit lower than I'd like it to be, though. That's because our board is very expensive with 3-star Sniper and whatnot. Let's buy the Bounty Hunter. Use the free reroll. There's an Ogre. Let's give it a shot. Let's run the Ogre in here. We don't get interest for this round, but that's the price we'll have to pay here. And or don't get 30 gold interest, and we can pick up the Shadow Fiend. So let's see, does Ogre cast right at the start of the fight? I think he should. Yes, he'll immediately cast onto the Shadow Fiend. And you know, with the recent changes to buff how much it the attack speed bonuses. Like, that's 65 attack speed just right off the bat. That's actually really strong. And he casts it every 5 seconds, regardless of mana, since he doesn't have mana costs anymore. I think Ogre Magi might be a new meta. He might be a new choice in the meta here. Because that is a really substantial buff right off the bat. Like, literally it just says at the start of combat, somebody else has plus 65 attack speed, and then every 5 seconds that happens. Will it be enough? Maybe. So definitely going to swap out the Bounty Hunter for the Alchemist here, because that gives us the Warlock buff. And, oh wait, you know what I just realized? I just realized that we can get 6 Scrappy without techies. How did it take me that long to realize that? Oh my goodness. I can now get 6 Scrappy without techies. That's insane. Okay. So now 6 Scrappy, I feel like that's like a meta. That's a play here. 6 Scrappy plus like 2 Warlocks, 4 Warlocks. 2 Warlocks, couple Mages. I don't know, but 6 Scrappy. Now we just need the Tinker, which is like, we can get Tinker on like any round here, and then we just go 6 units all Scrappy, and like that's insane. All right, let's do that. Let's see how that works out for us. All right, gotta swap our formation up here, and are we still going to run with... God, our net worth is really low. We've been buying so much stuff. We're still going to run with these Crystal Maidens? I think so. I think Crystal Maiden's really good in the Scrappy builds. I'm just struggling to see how we get to 6 Scrappy plus then run Mages. That may not actually happen. It might be just... might just be 4 Scrappy until like level 9, in which case we can go like 4 Scrappy, 3 Mages, or 6 Scrappy, 3 Mages. Then we don't have Shadow Fiend. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll take it as it is, and we'll see what happens. Mask Command is not really great with what we're trying to do here. Fall from Grace is okay. We can get a Heartless buff that way if we go with Crystal Maiden into Keeper of the Light. That could be pretty reasonable. So yeah, Tidehunter was one that was buffed in this patch, got more armor and more health, but his still fundamental problem is that his ult radius is really small at 1 star. He's still pretty decent at 2 star, but the other problem is that warrior builds are just kind of struggling right now. So unfortunately this Fall from Grace doesn't help us at this moment, but if we're going to try to put in Crystal Maiden as our Crystal Maiden plus Keeper of the Light as our next 2 units, it can be pretty good that way. So for that I might ditch these Bounty Hunters just for their bench space, you know? Yeah, see, Ogre Magi is just going to cast every 5 seconds, and it's pretty reasonable. He's just like buffing everybody. Especially in this build, which doesn't... It's not all about like the magic burst damage with the Scrappies. It's kind of about like Timbersaw just sustaining through fights and Tinker sustaining as well. Okay. I mean, we could just try 6 Scrappies right now. I kind of want to try that. Let's give this a try. 6 Scrappies. I don't know if it's good. 6 Scrappies, and then Ogre Magi gets the Scrappy buff. And then Sniper gets what? Immediately destroyed by the Slark. And this is not a good start to our 6 Scrappy build. Not a good build at all, or not a good start at all with all that magic damage and the Slark. I don't think our other build would have fared too much better there. But it was worth a shot here. I mean, still obviously would prefer techies over bounty hunter, but we don't like need to have it. We can always adjust off of this if we want to get rid of like the bounty hunter plus a level up to throw in 2 more mages, and maybe ditch the ditch sniper at that point. Really? Or would I do that? Let's use our free reroll. Nothing here. I think I'm gonna sell off the bounty hunter. I don't really think the 6 scrappies is a great long-term solution because we kind of lack damage. And somebody else has already gone into it. Has gone into scrappies as well. That's why we're kind of not seeing as many. That magic damage burst, though. That magic damage burst was absurd. 15. Jeez. Calm down. Oh, I didn't. Alright, this 6 scrappy build. It's typically always weak to magic damage, and this particular build is no exception. I still want to keep Tinker up front because I want him to be close to the phase boots. There's the Tinker. I move away from some of these snipers. I think I do the extra snipers because I really need to find these mages. I don't, and these level ups on Clockwork, Tinker, Alchemist. I'm not quite ready to panic just yet because I think we're just weak against those magic damage lineups, but maybe we're pretty strong against these more heavily physical damage comps. But everyone seems to have a way to answer sniper. How many human silences is that? I just have the 2 humans. I feel like our whole board was just constantly silenced by the Lycan and Kunkka. Like Timbersaw didn't, he got to spin once, but he couldn't spin a second time. Sniper was silenced. Tinker was silenced. Alright, so we're going to level up to 8 here after this creep round. And it's going to shift over this way. So we mostly target this one, and then Sniper can target the one on the left. And hopefully we can find a Keeper of the Light. So we can get the mage buff as well. There we go. Got that win. Our net worth is still pretty low in comparison to a lot of other players. 149 versus some people up in 160s. So I'm not super thrilled about the situation. I think a second Arcane Boots is going to be really good to hopefully get alts off really quick. I don't do that. So there's the Tinker, there's a Clockwork. Let's get this mage in here. Use our free rerolls. Oh, there's a Clockwork too. That was a really good reroll. Like going down to like basically nothing because I feel like we need to. Is Puck better than? Is Puck better than like Ogre Magi? I don't know actually. Puck does add damage, but like I kind of like what Ogre Magi has been doing. Before this patch, I think it would be a no-brainer. Obviously, Puck or Ogre Magi doesn't do anything for us, but now that he's like getting the buff right off the bat, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the tried and or not the tried and true, the experimental new and brave Ogre Magi over Puck because we still want to grab 2 more human mages that we would replace like two of the damage dealers with here. Go to the scrappies. Oh, there's another timber saw too. You might just get a 3-star timber saw before you find another keeper of the light, and I mean that would be good, but wouldn't exactly be what I was expecting. So maybe we just stick with the 6 scrappy build for a while instead of getting it. I mean, I want to get into mages. I want 6 or 3 mages because we got the Shadow Fiend. We'd get the Heartless buff as well, so that would increase our physical damage output. We'd get Crystal Maiden in to get Timber Saw, Clockwork Alchemist to cast a little bit quicker. So I think that's still good. Nothing here. Another Clockwork. Working towards 3 stars on those. There's the Crystal Maiden. Nothing. I need a Keeper Light. I guess Lena could work. I'm not sure. The reason I've moved Sniper up here to the upper right is because I think he was getting jumped on by too many assassins, and I think this is a better spot for him. It also gets him closer to the Arcane Boots so that he can get his big cast off, which is now buffed and no longer like retargets over and over and over again. It'll just always take that 2 seconds. So I think that's a little bit better. And then we put Tinker, who's a little bit more resilient, kind of offset back to hopefully pick up the people jumping on him. So I don't think Shadow Fiend 3 stars is realistic here because we're already pretty low on life total, or on gold rather. Not life total, but we're not great on life total either. So there's a 3-star Timber Saw. That is a really big pickup and very, very good with that one. I think we can just sit here for a little bit now and maybe not reroll quite as aggressively because I was kind of scared because we were on that losing streak going into round 21. And I was not entirely sure how that was going to resolve. If we were going to get eliminated, or not get eliminated, but if we were going to keep on losing even after we kind of went all in. It seems like we're not losing, at least not quite as badly. So that's nice. I think we might still lose here. I don't know. The Scrappy buff is now supercharged, but that's a 3-star Lone Druid, so he actually does hit pretty hard. Just his auto attacks. That's alright. We get a free reroll. And it goes into a creep round. So we managed to get through the round 20 to 25 gauntlet. That's typically a very tough point of the game where everyone's kind of trying to power spike as much as possible. I do notice that our gold is much lower than everyone else, so maybe they didn't reroll quite as much. So maybe we are... I think that's good that we did reroll that much, though, because if we didn't, we'd be definitely left behind and probably taken a bunch of damage that we didn't really want to take. Still haven't found more alchemists. And let's see, what do we want now? We want, well, 2-star alchemist, and if we want to get the mage buff, we need to ditch the scrappies. That would also mean ditching Sniper, who is kind of doing a lot of carrying here. I guess so is Timber Saw. I hope we can get like a Vanguard or something for Timber Saw. That would be sweet. Something to really kind of put him over the top here in terms of survivability. Don't think I want any of these. I'll pick up the Tidehunter just to show that his health got increased and his damage was 55 average, now it's 65 average. But the main problem is that his ability still is in a pretty small radius. Sacred Relic? It's a pretty reasonable item. Octarine Essence actually might be a touch better. No, I'll take Sacred Relic. Ocarine Essence on Timbersaw, but then I'm like, well, I really want his like survivability as well. So I don't know. Alright, I gotta pull off the sniper here, I guess. I think the Warlock bonus is too good to pass up here. And now we get the... Now we get some magic damage in here, but we're up against a probably bigger magic damage burst than we have, because, well, our Keeper of Light was killed before it did anything. So that was fun. Oh. Okay then. I just... Ouch. That Morphling just like one-shot my whole team as he just went right through. Oh, jeez. That was anticlimactic. And that puts us down into basically last place here. I'm still kind of questioning whether or not we should be... Whether we should have this Heartless, whether we should... Heartless just from Fall from Grace, or I could pick up Puck. I don't actually know what's correct. Puck might be better than Ogre Magi at this point, since we have the magic damage buff. Rather than just trying to get faster auto attacks. And of course Keeper Light gets pulled back in. Yeah, still gonna lose this, but not by much. Okay, let's get Puck in there over Ogre. Ogre's been cool. I think he still falls off, and now that we need a bit more magic damage, I think I'm happier putting in the Puck. That'll do the AoE. There's a 2-star Keeper. That's a pretty big deal. Alright, do I want to kind of compress in here? I think I do. And actually I'm going to move one of these Arcane Boots over to over this guy, Tinker. To hopefully get it onto the Keeper of the Light a little bit quicker, because the other ones are going to walk away. So we got it off in a pretty reasonable amount of time. That was good. That was really good. Okay, so we got the win in that fight. So there's hope for this lineup. Now the question is, what can we do from here? If we level up, what can we do? We can remove the Shadow Fiend for double Scrappies. I don't know if that's worthwhile. Or we can just sit here and keep on rerolling, trying to find Clockwork 3-star and Alchemist 2. And then that'll just be the end of it. That's probably our best bet. Pains me to say it that we can't get the 6 Scrappy again. But I think the better build at this point is going to be just trying to find those units. I'll just reroll once here, and then on round 31 we'll reroll a lot more, assuming we don't just get eliminated here. Last time we faced this opponent, I think we took 19, so that's not good. Yeah. That's a really strong build right now. That's unfortunate. So, alright. So what do we learn? Well, we learned that 6 Scrappy is a lot more reasonable early on. And I didn't realize that until I was already knee-deep in the game. There may be better builds for the 6 Scrappy out there. Not this mage build, because the mage build is kind of, well, it takes up mages. It might be better to try to get like 6 Scrappy plus just Warlocks. You know, Shadow Fiend plus the Alchemist at 7, and then at 8. I'm not entirely sure how to keep on building that out, but maybe going for the mage build was not correct in this instance. No matter what, it's still very weak to magic damage burst, so you really want to prioritize items like Pipe of Insight. That would have been really good for us to put on somebody like Puck or Shadow Fiend to help get them a little bit bonus health there. against that magic damage burst. But yeah, so this is my first game in the new patch, and I hope you enjoyed a little bit of discussion on the changes. Oh, there was one more change I did not mention. One more change. Refresher Orb, which no one has in this game, but Refresher Orb got seriously buffed, which I'm not entirely sure was necessary. The reason it got buffed was because Bracers of Desperation was like the same thing but better. But Refresher Orb now says it refreshes your cooldown naturally, but then it also reduces the cooldown by 50% of every ally within 1 square of the Refresher Orb holder. And also gives them 25 mana, so like an Arcane Boots. But also gives them reduced cooldown, but it's within 1 square. So it's an... Oh, somebody did have a Refresher Orb. Actually, here it is. Perfect. After casting an ability, refresh all cooldowns, restore 50 mana to equipped hero, additionally reduce remaining cooldown by 50%, and get 25 mana to allies 1 cell away. That is a massive buff, and now that was already a top priority pick, but now it's quite a bit better than Bracers of Desperation. So that will... Previously, it's like, well, you could take Bracers or Refresher Orb. They're kind of close. Now Refresher Orb's definitely better, but they're still both really, really strong, which I kind of like that change. It's a bold strategy, I think, to kind of buff the item that you made a better version of an item, so you buff the original to make it even better, and it's still really strong. So I kind of like it. People like buffs, like playing with more buffs. So we'll see how that really plays out, if it becomes a little bit too meta defining or not. But had a great time, and I'm gonna really enjoy playing in this new patch with the new ELO update, and especially trying to find out what kind of sick scrappy builds you can make work with Sniper now. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.